One of the very classic moments of the Hebrew Scriptures we find in the Ten Commandments, especially in Exodus chapter 20. In the Hebrew, these great commandments set forth our relationship to the Lord in a vertical way and our relationship to one another in a horizontal way. The first 5 deal with vertical relationship, the last 5 horizontal. And so we begin in verse 1 in the Hebrew. Vayadaber Elohim et kol hadevarim ha'ele lemor. And God spake all these words, saying. Vayadabar is from the root davar. It is a PL imperfect, third masculine singular, to speak. And notice the Vav turns it over. So it's a Vav hafik, or a Vav consecutive. And the Shava Pathak, the Shava under the Yod, followed by the Pathak and the doubling of the middle radical, indicates that we are looking at a PL imperfect verb. So God said, Elohim is the name for God that we have in Genesis 1. Bereshit bara Elohim. It looks at the greatness of God, at the transcendence of God. So God said 8 is simply the sign of the direct object. Kol hadevrim ha'ela. All, or the totality, a noun in construct with hadevrim. Notice ha is the definite article, and devarim is from the word davar, meaning word, and im is indicating the plural masculine suffix ending. So God spoke all of these words. Ha'ela, again, ha is the definite article, and ela is the adjective meaning these. A demonstrative pronoun used as an adjective here. So God spoke all these words, saying. Lemor is from the verb amar. It's an infinitive, a cow infinitive construct. Le'amor became lemor with the silencing of the aleph. It is used in translation, or I should say it's translated like a participle, saying. But it is an infinitive construct in Hebrew. So God spoke all of these words, saying. The Lord is speaking these words that He wants Israel to obey and to fulfill, and really words that apply for all time, setting forth the very nature of who God is and what He wants His followers to do and to look like. And so we begin in verse 2, Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mebeit avadim. Notice Anochi is the personal pronoun I. Sometimes you have ani, sometimes you have Anochi. So I am the Lord. Here we have the tetragrammaton, the Yod He Vav He. I am the Lord your God. Elohecha, again, is from the noun Elohim, and Elohe is in construct with the pronominal suffix cha. So, I am the Lord, the God of you, or your God. Asher is the relative pronoun which, hodseticha, or who, we could say, I am the Lord your God who, I have brought you forth. Notice, hodseticha is from the root yatsa, to bring forth. Here, it is a hifil, a perfect first common singular, followed by the pronominal suffix in the cha, second masculine singular. Notice the he gives it away as a hifil, I have caused to bring you forth. And historically, we have two uses of what is called the pei yod verb. We have what was historically pei vav and what was historically pei yod. Here, we see the historically pei vav, and the vav is coming back. So the root historically was vatsa, with a vav instead of a yod. A historically pei yod verb would be something like yanak becoming yinak in the imperfect. So this basically has changed from an AW, al seti, to od seti, In other words, the pathak vav changed and became a long holem vav, putting it into the hiphil stem. So, I have caused you to come forth, me'eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt. Notice, min is the preposition from. Since the aleph could not take the noon, it simply dropped out. And this preposition then, the hirik under the mem, lengthened to a tsere by compensatory lengthening. So I have caused you to come forth from the land of Egypt. Notice eretz is in construct with Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the noun, dual form here, ayim, meaning Egypt. So I have brought you forth, I have caused you to come forth from the land of Egypt, from the house of slaves. Mibeit Abadim. Notice the mem again is used here, but the noon has been able to assimilate in the bait, min bait becoming mid bait, and therefore we have the dogish forte in the bait and the hirik under the mem. Unlike what we saw in me'eretz, where we lost the noon and we have compensatory lengthening from the hirik to etc. So, from the land of Egypt, from the house, and beit here is from bayit, but it's in construct. And so bayit becomes beit in construct with avadim. Avadim is from the noun eved, but here we have it in the plural with the im, the masculine plural ending. So, two nouns in construct, standing in relation to each other, we put of between them, from the house of slaves. Notice this great section of the Ten Commandments begins by describing what the Lord has done. It is interesting that your Hittite, ancient Near Eastern Hittite treaties, begin with the king telling the vassal people what he has done for them. And so here, this is like a prologue to the 10 words, or the 10 davrim, the 10 commandments. And the Lord is saying, here's what I've done for you, and so here's what I expect from you. It is interesting that we as believers, followers of Jesus Christ, need to remind ourselves of what the Lord Jesus Christ has done for us in delivering us out of the bondage of sin, and as a result, seek to obey Him because of the great deliverance that He has so freely given to us. And then we begin the 10 words, or the 10 commandments, in verse 3. Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. There shall not be to you other gods before my face. Notice lo is the negative particle. And lo means never, ever. It's different from al. So there shall never, ever be. And yeh is from the root haya, to be. It is the cow imperfect, third masculine singular from the root haya. So there shall not be to you. Notice lecha is the inseparable preposition to, followed by the pronominal suffix ha, second masculine singular pronominal suffix. So there shall not be to you other gods. Elohim, again, is just your name for God, masculine plural. Acherim is the adjective other. And notice again, it has the masculine plural ending im to agree with Elohim. So there shall not be to you other gods. Al can be translated before. Al is a preposition, meaning upon, or here I believe before. And panayim is the normal word for face. But here we have the word in construct with the pronominal suffix, first person singular in the I. In other words, before my face. Panayim becoming panei in construct. And here, since we're in pause, the panai, the pathak, yod, lengthens to a comets in the second vowel before the ending here. So there shall not be for you other gods before my face. The Lord did not want Israel to worship any other gods, and there were divinities or deities everywhere. They had just come out of Egypt, where there were many, many gods. And Canaan had Baal. And then the Babylonians had a pantheon of gods, with Marduk being one of the main gods, or Shamash, or Shamshu, the sun god. And you had the same in Egypt with Re, the sun god. The moon was worshipped. The stars were worshipped. And often there would be images made and so forth. And we're going to see that in just a moment. But he's saying, we don't want any other gods, the Lord is saying. I don't want any other gods in competition with me. I'm the sole God of the universe, the Creator. And as believers, we're told in the New Testament in 1 John 5 to keep ourselves from idols. One of the things that we have to watch continually as followers of Christ is to not let the idolatry of the world pull us away from devotion to Him. There are so many things in this world that can take our time and can render us can I say, somewhat helpless in our relationship to the Lord because we allow it. And so we need to apply this in a spiritual sense to ourselves, not having any other gods, whether we're talking about materialism, whether we're talking about trying to be a certain thing to please our culture and worship a secularistic approach to life. Basically, we're to only have the Lord before us and not to have any other gods that we serve or that we worship. Often in our culture, money has become a big problem. And people often are serving money rather than serving the Lord. Or they're serving some human being who becomes a deity to them. So this is a very, very important text that encourages us to make sure that in our worship to the Lord, that He alone is the object of our adoration. And so in the next verse it continues. Verse 4, Lo ta'aseh lecha fesol v'chol temuna asher b'shamayim mema'al v'asher ba'aretz metachat v'asher b'mayim metachat la'aretz. There shall not be to you a fesol, a carved image, nor any likeness which is in heaven from above, or which is on the earth from underneath, or which is in the sea from underneath the earth. Notice he continues here, lo, the negative particle again, not, you shall not make, and ta'aseh, is from the verb asa, to make. Notice it is a cow imperfect, second masculine singular from asa. You shall not make for yourself. Lacha is the preposition for, and ha is the pronominal suffix, second masculine singular. So you shall not make for yourself a fessel. Fessel is like a carved out image of an idol. We see this in the ancient world, especially in the carved out images to Baal and Asherah, or other images, the golden calf that was worshipped even by Aaron, or Aaron allowing the people to make one later in Exodus. So this is a warning against any type of carved out image or any likeness, and a conjunction and or any likeness of, and notice whole means all or every likeness. Temunah is a feminine noun meaning likeness, or any likeness which